So for the past couple of days, I've been playing Final Fantasy XVI quite a bit. And I gotta say, you know what? This might be a hot take, but this is probably the best Final Fantasy since like 10. Which is pretty surprising because, I don't know. This is just my opinion, but 11 through 15 have not been all that great. Although I hear 14 is great, but I'm not really much of an MMO guy myself. But that's just me personally. Anyway, let's talk about the game. And the most important part of a game, probably, maybe, kind of, sort of, is the gameplay. And the gameplay is awesome. But first, I actually want to talk about the plot. The plot of this game is fairly complicated and simple at the same time, because mostly it's a revenge / redemption / fight off the, dude who's trying to take over the world. That's kind of the basic plot. However, if you go into the minutiae of the plot, that's when it gets complicated, because there's like 5 different kingdoms fighting for control at the same time. Meanwhile, the world is being taken over by this like trans-dimensional being, and the world is dying at the same time because there's like a plague coming, and all this compounds at the same time. And basically you get Game of Thrones as a video game. That's basically what this is. It is complicated as hell, but it is very, very fun if you can get into it. Anyway, you play as Clive, the Prince of Rosaria, right? And basically, you play as him in the beginning of the game, where he's still like, I want to say 15 or something like that. And everything's going good, except their country gets invaded, right? His dad dies. He kills his brother on accident. Let me see what else. His mom's a bit of an asshole and betrays the whole kingdom, right? Clive turns into freaking Bahamut of all things, and then he kills his brother, who can turn into the Phoenix, and a whole bunch of other stuff happens. Then, like 10 years later, he grows up. He gets branded on the face, right? And now he has to go seek revenge against himself, sort of. And then he finds companions along the way, and a whole bunch of other people die. Right? I mean, I know that's a terrible summary, but I can't really go into the whole thing, right? Then, after doing a whole bunch of other stuff, he meets Sid, who is probably the best character in the whole game. And then after meeting Sid, he unwittingly releases Ultima. And Ultima wants to take over the world, because why wouldn't you? And it also wants to take over Clive's body because, yeah, that's a whole thing. But, eventually everything works out. Clive dies, saving the entire world. Everybody lives happily ever after. And that's Final Fantasy for you. Right, enough about that. Let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is it's an action RPG, right? You go, you fight things as an action game, and then you level up, you get better stats, blah, 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 blah. You know how this works. And I gotta say, in the beginning of the game, it is hella repetitive. Like, it's not fun. Like, you have like one basic combo that you could do on enemies, and then you could like shoot some pew pew magic, like just a little bit, and it's okay. It's not that fun, but it does get fun later on as you accumulate more and more summons, who are called icons in this game, right? First off, you barely start off with like the Phoenix, maybe, but then you can't control it fully, so you just stuck with like basic ass abilities. But eventually you do get like Titan, you get not Harpuya, what is that? The freaking flying lady chick. You also get Phoenix, Bahamut, like all these other ones as well. But anyway, that comes later on in the game, right? And this game keeps introducing mechanics. Like 30 hours into the game, they were still like introducing new mechanics, which is just weird to me, but it does that for some reason. The highlight of this game's combat and visuals and everything else, are definitely the boss battles, because hot damn are they fun. Because I mean, regular gameplay, you fight a bunch of nukes, you throw a tornado at them, blah blah blah, they die. Who gives a crap? They're basic ass enemies. But the boss battles, that is where this game shines, because fighting like someone like Titan or the harpy lady, whatever the crap freaking summon is called. I forgot what it was called. But yeah, basically during these like humongous ass boss battles, right, everything starts like going crazy. You transform into Ifrit, and then all hell breaks loose. There's just like fireballs, there's like Dragon Ball Z fights going on all over the place. It is simply insane, and I love it. But the problem with these boss battles is that they are very far between, because there's like what, 3-4 hours between each boss battle, and in between it's just basic ass combat. Like I said before, I mean, sure, you get like better tools to fight and stuff like that, because you get to use more abilities, but in the end it's the same basic gameplay. And do not get me started on the freaking side quests, because each one of them is the exact freaking same. You walk up to a person, they say some freaking exposition, then you go fetch a thing, fight a couple monsters on the way, you retrieve the thing, you give it back to the person that you got it from, and bing bada boom, the quest is over, and then you get a whole bunch of junk that you don't even want. That's the entire side quest plot of like everything. The only side quests worth doing are the ones with the plus check next to it, because you might get something cool like a chocobo to ride. But other than that, side quests are freaking useless in this game. They are a waste of freaking time. Also, I don't know if it was just me, but like the game does not run at 60 FPS regularly. It like chugs along sometimes. And that also brings me to like some of the weird like in-game cutscenes. Like when two characters are speaking to each other, because the mouth flaps don't always match, and it feels like a bit stiff. I don't know if that was just me, but like that's something that I noticed. But enough with the negativity. One thing that I actually really loved about this game is just how realistic the characters were. My two favorites were Prob and Clive's uncle, who is by far the most ridiculous character in this game. I love this man. And also a special shout out to Titan, because this man is a simp, but he is the biggest simp of all time, so I can't really make fun of him like at all. I also kind of like how realistic everybody's like dialogue is and reactions to things and stuff like that. It's not always stiff and very video game like, but no, it just feels like how people would react, and I appreciate that very much. Overall, I had a great time with this game. A bit too repetitive for my taste. If it was maybe like a little shorter, that would have probably helped it, because I honestly feel that it's just a tad too long, but that's just my opinion. Honestly, I think it's worth it. I think you should buy and play this game, but you know what? That's just my opinion. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.